Hey everybody, and welcome to Mass Wraps. I'm Mike. This is going to be an interesting video about one of our more recent projects where we took a Ford pickup truck and we did the rockers in a custom color. We also did a stripe on the tailgate with embossed graphics, and we did a company logo on the back glass as well as a hand-cut Super Duty emblem on the front of the truck. These we're going to be making a lot more of these types of videos to show all the detail work that goes into us doing a wrap, and also for the clients, to have a little time capsule of what it looks like when we work on their car. If you have any questions, please comment them, and if you like this video, please like it online, and feel free to follow us on your favorite online platforms. Let's get right to it. Okay, here we are in the back of the truck. I've already loosened that black plastic piece, and here I am just trying to bring it down a little bit more. That piece didn't really want to come all the way off, so as long as I could get it loose so that I could tuck in around it, I was happy with that. And as you can see, I just am cleaning it with the microfiber to get all the dirt and dust out from underneath where that piece had been attached to the body, and all the dirt pulls in. Here we are doing the knifeless tape, and that's a little tricky because there's a gap there. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next panel, but you want that to be really lined up dead straight. The back plastic piece also up against the bumper had 3 quick snaps. They all had to come out. And I had measured and then went into the cutting room, production room, whatever you want to call it, and laid that out. This is a pretty straightforward wrap. Start from the flat, work into the crevices there, wrap around the edges, work my way up with the glove into that nook and cranny. You do not want to try to squeegee over that bridge and tuck. You will end up with that popping out. Start up top, the wheel well there, and then I can build a little tension and work the vinyl down into the bottom of that panel there. Here we are trying to get the rest of those pieces, cleaned up and in there, wrapped around the edge. Pull the tape, make sure to do it straight, parallel to the cut that you're trying to make so you don't get any wiggliness. And now I'm coming back with a little bit of heat and tucking up against that 90 degree on the back of the body there, where the plastic trim piece is hiding it. And then I slow down real quick for a second just to talk about, so on the bed wheel wells, the body panels are all doubled up, and so you want to really be careful that you don't leave any white exposed. And then after you make that rear cut, I'm going in to punch new holes for that plastic panel, which is all just holes that snap in, or tabs that snap in there. Okay, so first step on that one is taking off that little plastic trim piece. The other side came out okay. That one did not survive. The clip broke, but we have a solution for that we can get to. So here's the knifeless tape going down. So step 1 is going to be lay it out rough length that you want. And then, as you can see, I'm guiding with my left hand, applying with the right. So I had re-lifted it up. And then you want to basically feed it into that gap. There's if you try to bridge it into that gap, you'll end up regretting it. It'll end up popping out, and then it'll rely on your fingers to try to keep it straight, and that's not going to come out as straight as you want it. So you got to really kind of just lift and feed, and then check it and check it and check it. And then I was really careful about checking, making sure that those lines inside the wheel well were also basically horizontal, because it's easy just to wrap around, and then when you actually look, they're at like a 30 or 45 degree angle, or give or take. As you can see, the wheel's also covered to protect from any dust or dirt flying off that tire. And now I had laid some knifeless on the inside of the bed front there. I am laying the vinyl down, hinged off that top little piece there, working from the flat into the crevices, using the squeegee to get into that nook there. Once we get to the bottom, we're going to need heat, so I pick up the gun. Didn't quite give myself as much as I would like, maybe to wrap around on the inside of that wheel well, but, you know, it was enough to do the job. Maybe it just looks bad in this video. One of the nice things about having a big lifted truck is I can actually just slide right underneath. So now that the flat part's done, I'm going to start doing the part that wraps around the body. As you can see, I'm starting from the highest point, working my way down to the lowest point. So highest point would be the bottom there, because that's where the most stretch / pinch of the vinyl is going to be. Using the heat gun to make sure that we're into that crevice nicely. Using the pliers probably to just get the last little bit of wrap around there, because I really wrapped pretty deeply inside these, between the bed and the cab on this thing. Pull the knifeless tape, trim the wheel, trim the beneath. A couple little touch-ups with the trimming, maybe. Okay, cab corners. These things were kind of tricky. Super clean them. As you can see, I got some tools in there to actually hold it off the body so I could clean inside that gap, get any dirt out, get any wax out, get any oils out. This is the second side that I've already done, so I knew exactly how much I could wrap around based off the other side. I'm actually running over to the other side right now to take a look. So knifeless the inside, knifelessing the outside, getting underneath the truck to make a nice corner for it. Double checking everything, making sure that it looks just like the other side, because not only do I want the vinyl to match, but I want it to visually match as well. Went and got the material for it, putting a little knifeless up top so that I can actually get a wraparound without me trying to squeak my knife in there, where I could potentially cut the body, or potentially cut too short and have some white showing. Put some white blue tape down so that the vinyl's not going to be hanging up against the bed when I'm trying to make this wrap. Start with a nice flat part, nice and easy. Work around a little bit of that lip on the inside there while the outside's hanging. And now I'm starting to work my way around that corner. I'm doing it as much as I can cold. And, you know, this is a tough one where you want to have a lot of material to wrap with, but the more material you add, the harder it gets to actually make that happen. So, as you can see, I'm actually holding the material with pliers for a second there, so I can actually get a nice deep pull on it. There you go. I was using the pliers again. Using my gloves so that I can really basically use my fingers as squeegees on that one. Pulling down around that corner. This is where the cleaning really matters, so that you can actually grip to that very small and very rounded piece. Now here we are doing the final wrap around that bottom corner, where this is going to need a relief cut. And I may have already done that. And all right, pulled the vinyl tape, the knifeless tape for the top, pull the knifeless tape for the inside. Cleaning up a little bit of that, and then here comes the knifeless. There you go, for the back half of it. Making sure that's all clean, and I'm like with my fingers when I was feeling it, I was making sure I'm not feeling any wrinkles, even on the deep inside. Squeegee it is holding the panel off the vehicle so that I can actually wrap around up top there and the top corners so that there's no wrinkles. Looks like it was painted that way. Trim with the knife along the bottom. Blue tape off. Okay, so now inside the doors we got to super clean all those edges, because the dirt from the front tires gets all over that area. There's also a good amount of creasing inside that door there. You can see it when it's open, and you want to wrap around that nice. This is also one of the more critical knifeless lines that really has to be perfectly straight, and also you want the two doors to match up looking nice. Front door was actually hanging a tad low, and so I had to kind of finagle that knifeless line so it would look good between the two the front and rear door. Wrapping this pretty straightforward, as you can see, going down super fast, going from the flat into the crevices, and then wrapping underneath. And then now I'm doing the front crease there. Only goes down about halfway. This is when you want to use the squeegee for, not your fingers. Takes a little time to do it right. You want to lift, make sure that you're actually feeding that material into there so that it's not going to bubble out. That's one of those places where the bubbles are going to be really noticeable down the line. You do not want that to happen. Okay, getting back inside. So heat and wrap. I didn't give myself as much material as this was definitely one where I was going, why did I cut it enough, but I was just a little shy on the inside. But it was more than enough to wrap all the way around. A little trickier than I would like, but still did it. So we wrap, and as you can see, I'm using my thumbs to get it all the way around on the inside there. Do a nice trim job. Follow the body panel crease so that it looks natural, looks like it was supposed to be that way. Those tight little corners on the inside there, you got to be careful with. Okay, time for the front door. Again, clean. It's tough to get into that nook there, so I'm actually using knifeless, so I have a little extra material to wrap around the inside. Again, you want that strip to be perfect. Carve with a crease like this, it's kind of giving it to you, but you really got to do it right. This one, so front wheels are throwing dirt all over that rocker, so you got to really clean to make sure there weren't any spots on that rocker, which there were. This is another piece of the cake wrap job, starting from the hinge up there, doing the flat parts, working up to the crease, not super careful with the crease yet, working my way down to the bottom of the door, and then relief cut there right at the fender. Actually, I guess that I did work it all the way into that crease with the squeegee because I had the squeegee out. Knifeless pulled it off. Now wrap around that corner, as you can see, just tucking away. But I will approach that a little bit more from the inside. Get that inside of the door. Heat and wrap. And then we will cut it along the body. Exact same as the door before. So just a note, why didn't I lift the vinyl off those doors and move it back so that I had a little bit more vinyl to wrap around the inside of the door with? Main reason is something called glue dots. If you put the vinyl down and then you pick it up and put it back down, a lot of the time what you'll see are tiny little dots where little pieces of glue have come off the vinyl and they now leave big spots on the wrap. And something where you're trying to achieve a paint-like look, you can't do that. And so the only time I'd ever pick up a panel off the car and put it back is if I completely messed up, but that's not really going to happen when I'm working with a hinge setup like I have been. Now this one, there was a little bit of sand that ended up popping out at the last second there. And so I grabbed a little Pro Bond and I got it into that corner with a Q-tip so that I didn't have to worry about that corner failing down the line. Trim. Look at that. Beautiful. This is driver's door, so you really want to nail that line. They're going to see that every time they get in and out of the car. Now, the front fender bottom. I had already loosened that plastic, so we're cleaning it again. Putting some knifeless down on the painted, the wrap side so that I'm not going to cut into the wrap with doing the trim for this. So another place where you really want to have that knifeless horizontal. Peel and wrap, and as you can see, work my way into the crevice, working my way down into where that plastic goes. Haven't done anything inside the wheel well yet. Here we go. Heat, same thing that I did in the back. Tuck to the top, heat my way into the bottom, trimming around that plastic a little bit so that I can basically just pop the plastic out and then I'll be able to tuck right into it and I won't have to trim it once that I've already trimmed it the first time. Pull the knifeless, trim inside the wheel well. And making some decisions about exactly where to make the cut on the bottom. Open the door up so I can actually wrap around, get it nice and clean. There we go. Okay, sides of the truck are done, so now I gotta figure out how to take out the Ford logo on the back. We've done these before, but it's been a little while, so did a quick look up online. It is like I thought, where it just basically pops out, but I took the piece of the tailgate off so I could actually see what I was doing, and in the end I needed to grab one of the locking clips with a plier from the inside. I realized that it was able to lift, and so I put the blue tape on in case it popped out and it hit the ground. I didn't want that to get scratched. Now I'm doing multiple layers of blue tape so that I can wrench that thing out with the pry tool without actually scratching the truck. And here's where I actually reach back with the plier and pops that one clip out, pulling off all the leftover glue. Pretty straightforward on that one. Clean, clean, clean. Especially inside that oval, the Ford oval. You don't want any vinyl popping out there. Here I'm marking the line for the knifeless. Lay the knifeless down. Get in my chair, lift from one edge. Got that the way I wanted it. And now I've already cut the subliminal stickers that we're going to be putting on there. And so I was doing a lot of thinking about where they're going to sit. That was mathematically halfway between the edge of the oval and the edge of the taillight. And then I was thinking a little bit, maybe that's too far out. So I did one that was a little closer to the oval. And I was taking some pictures with my cell phone and stepping back to get an idea for how it looked in the end. And then I ended up deciding to go the further out look. And as you can see here, I'm getting them dead straight, centered, vertical, exactly on line. Double checking. Now I'm marking again that crease that I'm going to lay the knifeless on. It's a little bit of a technique there where you basically use the room lighting to highlight an edge, and then you come in with the grease pen and then lay the knifeless, and then I'm picking the knifeless up again and again to make sure those edges were perfectly dead on. And put a little tape down so I can actually hinge those decals. Decals are applied. Pull off the backing. Look at that. Clean them up. Get the grease pen off that I had put on the tailgate. Now you can see I'm wiping any dust and stuff off the bed. I'm spraying water into that hole so that dirt will not come out from that hole when we're in the middle of working on it. Started with a hinge on there, and then basically this one doesn't matter how it lays because it's going to start from the inside. So start from the inside, work my way up and down, but from the flat inside and lifting and tucking. No stretching at all whatsoever with this guy. No need to, and don't want the potential for failure later. I lifted it there because I saw what I thought was a piece of dirt, but it actually was a fisheye in the paint. This tailgate had been repainted. Heat inside the oval, do a relief cut so that I can get all the way in without having to force the material, which could cause it to fail or potentially discolor. Nice and easy to have a big relief cut like that. Heating into all the little nooks and crannies and heating and placing down over my subliminal gem logos. Pull the knifeless, which you want to do completely horizontal to your cut. Open and wrap the inside. This is another place that's going to be seen frequently by the owner of the vehicle, so you really want these lines to be clean. All right, here we're doing post-heating. So I let that sit for probably a day, and then I come back and I heat everything really well that we've done This helps prevent failure. This also lets me catch in case there's anything I'm not exactly happy with. You get a second chance to get up close with all of your detail work. And you don't miss anything when you look at it up close like this. I was really happy though. This vehicle didn't really have any problem areas, so the heat was mostly unnecessary, but I just wanted to make sure it went down nice. Here we're reassembling that black plastic, so I didn't reassemble it the day that it was done because I wanted to sit overnight and make sure that there wasn't going to be any peeling there, because I didn't want to lift it and potentially have any problem lift the plastic. So here I have heavy duty 3M adhesive tape on there. That piece went back on. Front piece just snapped back on, and then there's 2 screws that I used my power snap-on to put in. Here I'm applying edge tape to the place where the end of that wrap on the inside, or the between the cab and the bed. And here, same tape is going down on the inside of this cab corner, but first I cleaned up with by hand that edge just slightly, making sure I'm really happy with it, and then getting that tape down. It's a clear tape. This locks it. That's a really high stress wrap that's going to be exposed to an enormous amount of dirt, so I wanted to make sure that holds up. Putting the bed panel back on, doing about halfway down with each screw, and then screwing them in a proper pattern so that that panel won't bind and it'll sit factory flush against the tailgate. I didn't get any video of me wrapping that Ford logo, but it takes 2 seconds, and then trim around that nice edge, piece of cake, and then tucking it so that there's no hanging vinyl. Put a little heat on it, make sure that it stays like that. Okay, removing some vinyl using some heat in the back here. Just heat and pluck, heat and pluck. Okay, here we are inside the production room. I have run this material through our cutter, and now I'm plucking away the excess vinyl that's not part of his logo. I included this to show that it's kind of tricky. I didn't make video of me designing the thing. This didn't take super long to design because I was basically copying one that he had already had and was happy with. Now I'm making marks for horizontal and vertical to be perfectly straight and make my life a lot easier to place it. I have already cleaned this back glass, and now we're going to do some measurements to make sure that we're happy with where the thing is going to sit on the truck. And I had already checked to make sure that the level would work. Some vehicles don't sit exactly level. This one was new enough that it did. Trimming off a little bit extra, put some tape on it, hinging it, and boom. Very easy to do that. Now, one of the last things this guy wanted was the Super Duty logo up front in the matching color to the rest of the wrap. I looked up and tried cutting copies of the letters from what I was able to find online. And you can see the S plucked out of the vinyl sheet there, and it just was not coming out the way that I wanted it to. So, he gave me permission to cut by hand. It's not my favorite way to do it, but if you're really, really gentle and with a really sharp knife, you don't really have to cut into the body of the vehicle. And so I would wrap down into these inset letters. They required a little bit of relief cutting. You had to pop holes in the vinyl to let it breathe it out. And then I would basically do horizontal cuts, then vertical cuts, and then the rounded cuts, and then pluck out what was left. And you could see when I did that there, I was taking a sharp look at that letter E in the word super. Wasn't fully happy with that, so I've made the decision to press on and see how the rest of it came out, and then we would go from there. And so I got a phone call. So Super Duty came out pretty good, and I'm shutting off the lights here. Still have TY left. And I will speed it up a little bit here, but what I ended up doing was redoing the E, and I wasn't really happy with how it came out, so I ended up doing it twice, but third time's the charm, and I was finally happy with the way the letter E came out. The problem was with those thin little E lines, I didn't get them perfectly vertical, horizontal, even, whatever you want to call it. And so it was kind of obvious that it was hand done, and I wanted it to look machine done, or at least fill in the gaps there. So here was round 2. And what I think you can see, yep, and then I gave up on round 2, and then round 3 came out just right, and we were happy with that, and so was the client.